You step onto that cruise ship feeling like you've earned every second of this vacation. The ocean breeze hits you, the staff is smiling, and your cabin looks like a little slice of paradise. But somewhere between unpacking your suitcase and propping open that balcony door, you might be setting yourself up for consequences that could completely derail your trip. And the wildest part? You probably have no idea you're doing anything wrong. These aren't the obvious mistakes like smuggling alcohol or starting fights at the buffet. These are the quiet, innocent habits that millions of cruise passengers do every single voyage without thinking twice. Today we're going to walk through 7 of those habits, and I promise by the end of this video, you'll never look at your cruise cabin the same way again. Let's start with something almost every cruiser does on their very first night. You come back to your cabin, you're exhausted. You've been exploring the ship, maybe had a few drinks at the welcome party, and you just want some fresh air. So you crack open that balcony door and leave it open while you sleep. Feels harmless, right? It actually isn't. Cruise ships are enormous floating machines with incredibly precise air pressure systems designed to keep the interior environment controlled and consistent. When you leave your balcony door open for extended periods, you create what engineers call a pressure imbalance that can interfere with your cabin's HVAC system. The system starts working overtime trying to compensate, and depending on the ship, that can trigger automatic alerts. But the real danger isn't the mechanical issue. It's what can come in. Open balcony doors at sea create serious safety concerns that cruise lines take very seriously. Strong gusts of wind at ocean speeds can turn lightweight objects into projectiles, scatter documents and passports, and in genuine worst-case situations, that open door can become a factor in balcony safety incidents that cruise lines actively try to prevent. Many cruise contracts actually have clauses about responsible balcony use, and guests found repeatedly violating safety protocols can face formal warnings. Some ships have sensors that detect when balcony doors are left open too long and will actually alert staff. You paid for that ocean view, enjoy it responsibly. Now let's talk about the extension cord situation, because this one genuinely surprises people when they find out the consequences. You arrive in your cabin, and you realize the outlets are frustratingly limited. Maybe there's one near the desk and one near the bed, and you've got a CPAP machine, 2 phones, a camera battery, and a curling iron all competing for power. So you reach into your bag and pull out that trusty extension cord or power strip you packed specifically for this trip. Smart thinking, right? Actually, cruise lines ban personal power strips almost universally across the industry, and security teams actively look for them during embarkation screening. The reason is fire risk. Ships have incredibly strict electrical load requirements because a fire at sea is one of the most catastrophic things that can happen on a vessel. Marine environments create unique conditions where standard household power strips can behave unpredictably. There have been documented cases where power strips have contributed to cabin fires on cruise ships, and the maritime fire safety regulations that govern these vessels treat electrical fires with extreme seriousness. If crew discovers an unauthorized power strip in your cabin during a safety inspection, or when your cabin steward is cleaning, it will be confiscated on the spot. Repeat violations can result in being flagged in the cruise line system, which can affect future bookings. Your best move is to check with your specific cruise line before sailing, as many now provide multi-outlet USB hubs in newer cabins, or you can request a cruise line-approved device. Here's one that's going to feel so relatable, it almost hurts. You're unpacking, and you want your cabin to feel like home, so you start rearranging things. Maybe the desk chair gets moved closer to the balcony. Maybe you push the nightstand slightly to get better access to the outlet. Perhaps you fold up one of the extra blankets and tuck it between the mattress and the wall to stop it from sliding. All perfectly reasonable, all completely understandable, and all potentially problematic. Cruise ship cabins are arranged the way they are for specific reasons that go beyond aesthetics. Furniture placement is designed around emergency evacuation routes that crew members have memorized for every single cabin configuration on the ship. During a genuine emergency, A crew member might be navigating your cabin in low light or smoke to help you evacuate. And if the furniture isn't where they expect it to be, those extra seconds matter enormously. Beyond evacuation concerns, blocking vents with moved furniture or tucking things near the walls can interfere with smoke detector coverage zones and fire suppression system effectiveness. The blanket wedged between the mattress and wall doesn't sound serious until you understand that ships have very specific guidelines about keeping materials away from certain areas for exactly this reason. You're allowed to make yourself comfortable, but keep major furniture in its original position. We're 4 habits in, and things are about to get more serious, so stay with me, because this next one affects way more passengers than cruise lines publicly admit. Let's talk about what you flush down that toilet. Cruise ship plumbing is an entirely different universe compared to what you have at home. These ships use vacuum-based sewage systems that operate on a completely different mechanical principle than land-based plumbing. The suction required to move waste through the system across a ship that might be 15 decks tall and 1,000 feet long is extraordinary. Which means the system is simultaneously powerful and surprisingly fragile when it comes to what it can handle. Flushing anything beyond human waste and the specific toilet paper provided by the ship can cause clogs that cascade through an entire section of cabins. We're not just talking about wet wipes, which nearly every cruise line explicitly prohibits in their embarkation materials. We're talking about things people genuinely don't think twice about, like dental floss, cotton rounds, paper towels, and even certain types of thicker toilet paper brought from home. A clog in a vacuum sewage system doesn't just inconvenience you. It can render multiple cabins unusable and requires specialized repair that can cost the cruise line thousands of dollars per incident. Here's where the consequences get real. Cruise lines can and do charge guests for plumbing damage when they can trace the cause back to a specific cabin. That charge can appear on your onboard account or be processed against your credit card after the voyage. The amounts vary but can be substantial. Now I want to take a moment to highlight something that connects all of these habits together, because there's a pattern here worth recognizing. Every single one of these situations shares the same core element. They're things that feel completely normal in a land-based environment, but exist in a totally different context on a ship. The ocean fundamentally changes the stakes. What's a minor inconvenience at home becomes a serious situation at sea, miles from the nearest port, with thousands of people in a shared environment. Keeping that context in mind makes the remaining habits hit even harder. Number 5 is one that people genuinely feel defensive about when they first hear it, and I completely understand why. You come back to your cabin after a long day of shore excursions. You're sunburned and tired, and you decide to do a little laundry in the sink. Maybe a swimsuit, some socks, a shirt that got splashed. You wash them out, wring them as best you can, and then you hang them on the balcony railing or string them between pieces of furniture to dry. This is something people do literally everywhere they travel in the world. At hotels, at hostels, at Airbnbs. And on cruise ships, it can get you in real trouble. The balcony railing issue is the most serious version. Anything hung on or draped over a balcony railing creates a potential overboard situation that cruise ships document and respond to as possible man overboard events. When crew spots something going over a balcony railing, even if it's just a shirt getting blown off by the wind, the ship may have to initiate a full man overboard response protocol. That means slowing or stopping the ship, launching search efforts, and mobilizing significant crew resources. These responses cost enormous amounts of money and can disrupt the entire sailing schedule, affecting thousands of other passengers. Guests responsible for triggering false man overboard alerts through negligent behavior can face serious financial consequences, and in some jurisdictions, legal liability. The drying clothes inside the cabin concern is different, but real. Wet fabrics significantly increase cabin humidity levels and can promote mold growth in the ventilation system. Your cabin steward will remove any items found hanging in unsafe locations. Number 6 might be the one that generates the most comments on this video, because almost everyone has done this or knows someone who has. You bring food back to your cabin. Not contraband, not anything weird. Just some fruit from the buffet, a few cookies, maybe a plate of French fries because you want a snack later. You set it on the desk or the nightstand and go about your evening. The issue here is multifaceted, and cruise lines deal with the consequences of this habit constantly. First, the biosecurity angle. Cruise ships operate in international waters and visit ports across multiple countries. The international maritime protocols around food handling exist partly to prevent the introduction of pests and pathogens that could cause massive problems in the ship's food storage areas or jump to port locations. Uncovered food in cabins is a genuine invitation for pests, and cruise ships invest enormous resources in pest prevention because a pest problem on a ship is extraordinarily difficult to resolve while at sea. But there's a more immediate consequence that passengers sometimes discover the hard way. Some cruise lines actually include clauses in their ticket contracts about food being consumed in designated areas, and crew members finding evidence of significant food accumulation in cabins can flag the room for additional inspections. The more immediate problem is that late-night snacks left out attract insects that may have come aboard at tropical ports, and passengers have found themselves dealing with very unpleasant cabin companions by mid-voyage. The consequences compound when you realize that cruise ships can actually deny boarding to guests on future sailings if their history shows patterns of behavior that created sanitation issues. Alright, we have arrived at number 7, and I saved this one for last deliberately because it carries the heaviest potential consequences of anything on this list. This habit involves the balcony, like several others, but the specific action is different. You're having a wonderful evening. Maybe you've grabbed a couple of drinks from the bar, you're feeling relaxed and celebratory, and you step out onto your balcony to enjoy the night air. You light a cigarette or a cigar, or maybe you vape, because after all you're outside, right? You're not in the cabin, you're not indoors, the breeze is carrying everything away. This reasoning makes complete sense, and it is also directly in conflict with the policies of nearly every major cruise line operating today. Balconies on cruise ships are not classified as outdoor smoking areas. They are classified as extensions of the interior cabin space for the purposes of fire safety regulations. The reason for this is devastatingly practical. Ocean winds create unpredictable airflow patterns that can send lit material from a balcony directly into an adjacent balcony or back through an open sliding door into the cabin. There have been real incidents where balcony smoking contributed to fires that caused significant damage to ships, and the maritime industry responded by broadly banning balcony smoking across the industry. The consequences for being caught smoking on a balcony where it's prohibited are among the harshest that cruise lines impose on passengers for non-criminal behavior. We're talking fines that commonly range into the hundreds of dollars per incident. We're talking being removed from the ship at the next port of call. And yes, those things happen to real people on real cruises every single year. Some cruise lines maintain databases of guests who have violated this policy and use that history to make future booking decisions. So let's pull all of this together, because there's something genuinely empowering about knowing this information before you board. Every single one of these habits shares a common thread. They're normal behaviors transported into an environment that has fundamentally different rules, different risks, and different consequences than anything most of us encounter in daily life. The cruise ship isn't just a hotel that floats. It's a vessel governed by international maritime law, operating miles from emergency services, carrying thousands of people in an interconnected environment where one person's casual habit can cascade into consequences that affect hundreds of others. The cruise lines aren't being arbitrarily strict when they enforce these rules. They've learned most of them through painful experience with real incidents. What makes this information so valuable is that none of these habits come from malicious intent. Nobody boards a cruise ship wanting to start a fire or trigger a man overboard response or clog the plumbing system. People do these things because they're comfortable, familiar behaviors that they've never had to think critically about. And the cruise ship environment doesn't always give obvious signals that the stakes have changed. Your balcony looks like a balcony. Your bathroom looks like a bathroom. Your power outlets look like power outlets. But the context is entirely different. Going into your next cruise armed with this knowledge puts you in a completely different category from the average passenger. You can enjoy every single amenity the ship has to offer. You can fully relax and actually disconnect from the stress of everyday life. And you can do all of that without accidentally triggering a consequence that turns your dream vacation into something you're still dealing with months later when a charge appears on your credit card, or when you try to book another sailing and discover there's a flag on your account. The ocean has always demanded respect from the people who travel it. Modern cruise ships have made that travel more comfortable and accessible than ever before in human history. But the fundamental nature of being at sea hasn't changed. Adapting your habits to honor that reality isn't a restriction on your vacation. It's actually what allows you to enjoy the full freedom of it without unexpected interruptions. If you found this video valuable, and I genuinely think it contains information that most cruise passengers have never encountered in one place before, please share it with anyone you know who has a cruise coming up. The comment section is open, and I'd love to know if any of these surprised you, or if you have a story about encountering consequences from any of these habits firsthand. Drop your experience below, because those stories are often more educational than anything I could tell you myself. And if you want to keep going deeper on cruise travel, I have videos covering everything from what crew members wish passengers understood to the hidden fees that catch first-time cruisers completely off guard. Hit that subscribe button, and let's keep exploring together.